Hello Newcastle fans, TV, and welcome to season review. This is March. I've kind of neglected this, but I'm going to try and get the next 2 or 3 months out there. So this is the March review. Quite a breakthrough for me in YouTube because a lot happened. I went on the radio, I got the whiteboard, there was loads of collaborations, the sacking of McClaren, the hiring of Benitez. So quite an interesting month for me on YouTube and at Newcastle, of course. Here is the highlights from March, and I'll come back to you at the end. Slightly becoming now a bit of a joke, really. I mean, give an example. I'm a professional worker and most of my mates are like the lads. I'm all in with late 20s, coming up 30, and we can't afford to keep going games paying 30 quid to 45 quid.
I've got something new for you. I have the board behind me. What we're going to do is run you through the league games over the weekend, which went brilliantly for Newcastle. Not one team out of the bottom 5 or 6 picked up any points. Fantastic, isn't it?
Moment, we've been doing quite well. We've just come off the back of 2 straight wins away at Bournemouth and at home to Aston Villa. That's the key word against Aston Villa. We only just beat them. It was a bit of a weird game. We just scraped past them, but the Bournemouth game was a brilliant result. And
week in, week out in the Premier League, now we're seeing managers diving. What makes it worse is Michael Oliver didn't even brand Louis van Gaal a yellow card. Why do you build me up? Buttercup baby, just to let me down. That's Arsenal in a nutshell.
Newcastle go down to 1-0 defeat thanks to a late Shaqiri strike away at Stoke. The Toon Army remain in the relegation zone despite having a game in hand and the other teams around them. Newcastle didn't create nothing until the very last minute when a Jack Butland wonder save denied a point. And has anybody seen this man? He is wanted by me because I want to put a knife to his throat. I'm fucking sick. I'm going to try not to swear after watching that. So, coming in the second half, we did alright. We did alright until that man Shaqiri, which I said in my tactics video, did I not? Cuts inside and then shoots and scores in the 80th minute. Stoke 1-0 up. I'm like, fucking hell, man. It's just literally finished, literally 30 seconds ago, and I can't be arsed, I swear, I'm just sick.
I mean, I'm not for one to say get McClaren out. I'm not one for that. However, if we don't get 3 points against Bournemouth, I want him gone. I really do. I mean, there's talk. I mean, if McClaren was to go, I mean, who would come in into the side? I mean, personally, for me, a lot of people have been saying David Moyes, Brendan Rodgers. But for me, I would like to see Rafa Benitez given the job if McClaren is good.
Steve McClaren in trouble? Oh, he's in massive trouble. He has to take his fair share of the blame. But the whole club is a mess, Gary, from top to bottom. We've seen statements from Chief Executive, from the fitness coach saying how fit the players are, from the manager, from the captain, and from the players today backing the manager. Well, if that's a performance to say we're backing the manager, then they really are in trouble. There's no statements of intent on the pitch where it really matters, and that's the problem. No academy players coming through. The chief scout, Graham Carr, holds all, if not most, of the power with players coming in and coming out. Team lacks character, leaders. You've got a £15 million striker who they paid for in the summer. They can't score goals. He sat on the bench today. Yeah. So that tells you where the problems lie with Newcastle everywhere.
That is definitely a performance that we carry on like that. That's going down material.
That's how much rage. I haven't had rage like that since we got beat off Sunderland when I done that video, and I was absolutely foaming.
Well, who can put the finger on it? I can't put my finger on it. You know, you've got a fantastic history there, unbelievable fans there, you know, amazing stadium. You just can't put your finger on it, you know. Who knows why such a big club seems to be, you know, every year in the last, say, 3-4 years, seem to be floating around there. I can't put my finger on it. Who knows? Is it infrastructure? Is it hierarchy? Is it the players? Is it the managers they pick? You know, you could probably pick 50% of each thing I've just said. You know, I think it's a combination. You know, you've got to get things right from the top to the bottom.
The thing about McClaren, and you know, you've been coached by him, but he is, you know, we saw it with England, he is a good coach. He'll go on the training ground and he will move everyone around and he'll get them all set up right. But in terms of going through the gears emotionally, saying the right words at the right time, getting the team talk right, getting pretty much the tactics right. He's not a top grade manager. We saw it with England. Okay, so Middlesbrough, Wolfsburg, occasionally there. But really, he's a coach. Whereas what Newcastle want, they want a younger Bobby Robson. They want someone to inspire them.
Now want McClaren out. I haven't said it all season, to be fair. I said in my preview show at St James's when I looked a bit rough, I said if we don't win against Bournemouth, you need to be gone. And Newcastle, if any of Newcastle board or directors are watching this video, fans are meant to have an enjoyment when you go to a game. That was not enjoyment at all, sitting there paying 35 fucking quid for a ticket, watching that shite. It was terrible. And that was Bournemouth. No disrespect to Bournemouth, you played well, but we are Newcastle United. You go to work, right? You pay your bills. You've got problems in life. You've got problems with, I don't know, you're going through a divorce. You've got car problems. You worry about your money. You've got bills. Going to watch Newcastle is your escape for one day where you can escape your reality of life and go to enjoy your football team. Going to watch Newcastle is not fucking enjoyment. It's horrible, man. It's absolutely fucking horrible. We need a fucking change of manager, man.
Back to Newcastle. Let's talk to Lee. He's a Newcastle supporter. Welcome to BBC Newcastle, Lee.
Hello lads, how's it all doing?
Hi Lee. Not bad at all, Lee. What do you make of what's going on then at Newcastle?
Oh well, it's the lack of what's not going on at Newcastle at the minute that's frustrating me. I mean, there's no word. I mean, after the result against Bournemouth, I thought, we're going to get some news Monday, Tuesday. Once it gets back to training, the news that'll come out that McClaren has been sacked, and we've still got nothing. And it's just Newcastle. It's just so frustrating, you know.
Yes! This is what we've all been waiting for. If nobody knows what happened today, this morning, around about 10:30 this morning, Steve McClaren met with Lee Charney on the telephone though. It wasn't actually in face to face, so they spoke on the telephone. It's our understanding that McClaren actually didn't want to go with all the cameras there. So he was told on the telephone at 10:30 this morning that he's being relieved of his duties for Newcastle United manager. Yes! What a day. I'm struggling to keep up. Rafa Benitez has been appointed Newcastle United manager on a 3-year deal. A lot of people thought this wouldn't happen, but it has happened. We have a top big name manager for the first time, I have to say, since Bobby Robson. I said, didn't I? I did say that my choice was Benitez. So again, I'm going to play the VT for you.
I would like to see Rafa Benitez given the job.
So you see, I did call it last week. I wanted Benitez in last Friday before the Bournemouth game, and we've got one man.
Hello Newcastle fans, this is Fox's Fan Studio, and today we're doing a player rating some Newcastle players for you guys. So this is from a Leicester's fans perspective, so I'm going to sum up your season in a few words. So currently you're doing very bad in the table, you are in a similar position as we were last year in terms of the relegation zone. Will I think he will stay up? I think he will stay up because right now, as I'm filming this video, Steve McClaren is still in charge, but you're currently in talks with Rafa Benitez.
Leicester 1, Newcastle 0. There was no goals scored in the second half. But do you know what? Normally I'm effing blind. I normally throw stuff across my room. I normally shout at me cats, believe it or not. But I'm actually probably the second time this season where I don't feel too negative. Now you're always going to have negative people on Twitter saying, "Oh, we're going to get relegated," all this. You're always going to have that, but that result there, that's the first time all season where I've seen a team play the dirty corner flag tactics. Leicester went to the corner flag in the 88th minute. Yes, they're desperate for the win. If you looked at that match, you would probably think those two teams were two mid-table teams, judging. If you didn't know where both clubs were.
I'll go with mine because I think I'll cause the most controversy. So,
right then, fire away.
Which is, what's your views on the Adam Johnson drama?
Right, I've got to be careful what I say because it's not officially over, isn't it? Right.
Well, he's getting sentenced on the 24th, so.
Will he do all the time? No, he's going to, they say up to 10 years? Nah, he'll probably do 2 years. you'll get a new identity, and you'll probably move to the other end of the country in a happy little cottage somewhere.
We are the Geordies. We didn't like the Mackhams. Get on that pitch. I'm going to show you what happens.
It's the passion, the unbelievable passion, the banter on Derby week between the two sets of fans.
We've got to win Sunderland. Simple as that.
If we don't win, then we are partly down.
Derby week. Derby on Sunday. It means everything to Newcastle fans, Newcastle and Sunderland fans.
If we pull form, like we did on Monday, we hopefully will stand a chance of beating them.
If Newcastle wins the derby, I'll be happy.
Every Newcastle fan wants us to go out there and win it, and when we don't win it, we're all very disappointed.
I think the Toons should win this one. However, we've got a new manager aboard this ship. It's all a higher way, and we're going to sail fucking to victory.
It means everything. Absolutely everything.
It's Rafa Benitez's first home game with Newcastle, and what a game it is going to be. The time weird derby. Keith Downey is at St James's Park for us. Lots of talk, of course, Keith, about the rivalry between Rafa Benitez and Sam Allardyce. What have the two men, though, had to say about each other?
Yeah, in the past, plenty touchline bust-ups between the two managers. I think it's fair to say there's no love lost between Rafa Benitez and Sam Allardyce. We've seen that at their past clubs. Now, that led to Sam Allardyce saying in the past that I don't like Rafa Benitez, and the feeling is probably mutual. Rafa has got personal with me for years now. That then led to Benitez inviting Allardyce to compare CVs, and Allardyce in the past claimed that Benitez thought that he was superior.
This will be electric, isn't it? You have to sense it, don't you? Sun Tzu.
The size of them. Oh. And it's already started. It's already started on the 9 bar. Wave. Today is going to be big.
Newcastle can get it safe, and that's a super volley from Jermaine Defoe.
Yeah, come on! Got all the Mackham coaches right there. Judging by the game, I think it's a victory for the police today. James, your thoughts?
Let's not reflect.
James has been shouting taxpayers' money at police all night.
Let's not reflect.
I think that's the only thing he's found today that he's liked.
Let's not reflect.
Yeah. What do you think right up with the game?
I'm happy with it. I think we played very well. Good fighting spirit.
Would I have took that before the game? Probably not. I wanted to win. But judging by being 1-0 down, I would have grabbed the point with both arms. This is the perfect result for Norwich, because this is what Norwich would have wanted. They got this massive victory yesterday. They surprised 1-0 away win over West Brom. So this is what they would have wanted.
There is no way Rafa Benitez is keeping Newcastle in the Premier League. There's only 3 teams left in it: Norwich, Newcastle and Sunderland. And after this weekend, there's only one of them staying in the Premier League, and they're not from the North East. Norwich City are staying up.
Rafa Benitez has done the greatest of great escapes. I'm pretty confident he can do it again.
I think it's an odd appointment. I just don't think the squad's good enough to stay in the Premier League.
We all know Rafa Benitez is a good manager, and he's won silverware around the world, so I think they have a good manager to do it.
He's definitely brought the Magpies a glimmer of hope, but they'll have to make changes almost immediately.
The Premier League needs big fans like Newcastle and Sunderland.
If you're losing rubbish football for decent football, I really don't see an issue.
No club should be too big to go down. No club should be immune to go down.
Having the derby, the Tyne-Way derby, at the top tier of English football is really very important. It's one of the highlights of the season for neutrals, let alone the fans of those two teams concerned.
So we all knew in hindsight that McClaren should have been sacked earlier. Benitez hired earlier than we would have stayed up. That's a fact. But that was March, quite an interesting month, wasn't it? We're going to move on to April in the next few more days, and then we've got May to do, and then we're done for the season review. I've been Lee on behalf of Newcastle Fans TV. See you later.